everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Z Garcia.
Today we're taking a look at a game from Funko called Star Wars Rivals. This is it's a two-player clash game between light side and dark side, and it is a collectible game. You can buy a figure here randomly. You get a dark side figure or a light side figure. There are 6, 9, 18 different figures, plus some rare hologram figures. And then you can also buy this starter set that has 2 light side and 2 dark side in it. Mm-hmm. So you are making a team of 3 people. I'm glad they gave us 2 in here. You make a team of 3 people, although they give you, well, Z will explain more of this in a bit.
I did, yeah.
But you're going to be fighting against each other. And so when I first heard about this, I was slightly interested, but it looked like a cutesy throwaway toy. We're about to find out. Here's how it plays.
Here I'm going to be giving you a quick look at how the game works, but before I do that, I do want to point out that while you need 3 characters for each side of the game, I am enhancing the gameplay you're seeing here with some booster packs. I've got 1 dark side booster pack and a light side booster pack here to go above and beyond what comes in the core box, because in the core box you would get Luke and Cody, but then you'll get one of these tokens that represents the 3rd character, okay? And same thing on the other side, that comes with one of these troopers right here. So the idea is that one of these came with C-3PO, the other one came with Count Dooku, and that's what we're playing with today, okay? So the objective of the game is to have the most victory points. You're going to be doing that by controlling these locations and winning them, and then you get that many victory points as listed there. Each player has their little deck of cards composed of whatever characters they're using, their cards shuffled into a single deck, and you are going to draw 3 cards to begin the game. You pick your start player, you are good to go. I'm going to go ahead and stand up all these little characters, and we are ready to start. So on your turn, I'll back these up a little bit here. So on your turn, each round is going to go like this. You are going to take turns deploying a character to a location, all right? So let's say the light side is starting over here. I'm going to play Luke to the trenches there. And then maybe my opponent puts Count Dooku at the meditation chamber, and we go back and forth until we are done. So they might do that, and I might do that, all right? Then, once we're both done, we're going to roll this die, and this die tells us where we score, all right? We don't necessarily fight over all of these. We're preparing for a possible fight, and now based on this roll, that decides where we fight, okay? If you get this face, you are going to fight. The only fights are happening at whatever location or locations have the largest strength, the biggest fight. So in this case, it would only be at the trenches there, because that's worth 5, 4, and 3 victory points. If you roll anything else, then whatever numbers came up. So if we'd rolled this, it would be 1 and 3. This is 1, and this one's 3. And so on. There's 1 and 2, there's 2 and 3, and possibly all of them as well. So once we've rolled that, and let's say that's what we got, so we're only fighting here, then every player may play a card from their hand, okay? We both select a card. We are going to place it face down, then in player order again, starting with whoever has the high ground here. Play it, resolve the card, the opponent plays theirs and resolves it, and then we see who has the highest strength there. The characters are going to have a built-in strength right here, plus that'll be modified by whatever cards do. Sometimes you'll end up putting negative tokens on characters, lowering their ability, and in fact, while you are deploying in a future turn now, you're even allowed to, instead of placing someone at a location, you're allowed to not deploy them, instead keep them back, take them to the back to tanks, and they're going to heal at the end of that round. You sacrifice putting them out there for 1 whole turn, okay? So there you go, that's how that works. So let's say, again, I played a card that says use the Force, Luke, place up to -2 on an enemy at Luke's location. I may reveal the Force user's cards to make it -4 instead. So I could do that. I would have to have another Luke card, which I don't, actually, so this might not be a great play. But what have you, I would do that, and then my opponent might play one of these. They might play place -1 on Darth Vader, double Darth Vader's influence this round. So he would go from a 6, I'm dropping him down to a 5, and then doubling that, he becomes a 10 strength. Very powerful. Let's say my opponent wins here. They're going to take this card. They keep it in their score pile. We replace that card, and everybody comes back. We switch who has the high ground, and we do it again. Flip this over, and we once again take turns deploying to these different locations, and we roll, and we play a card. You also draw back up at the end of your turn, so you have at least 3 cards in your hand, all right? And you'll notice some of these locations are just a value, but some of them have an ability. Say, Dark Side, Force users have +1 influence here. If you have enough of these locations because you've bought some boosters and they come with a couple of extra cards in there, then you can also, whenever you are playing, each player brings their team of 3, and you can each bring 6 of these cards, shuffle those together, and that's your 12 locations. So this card, of course, if I was playing the Dark Side, I would certainly want to be packing that card. Once these cards are gone, for the final go, we don't roll. Instead, like if this is fully gone, we just do them all. Then once that happens, we are going to grab all the cards we've been able to score, and we're going to add up the victory points and see who the winner is. I have 17. If that's the high score, then I'm the winner. And there you go. That is how you play Star Wars Rivals.
Before we get in the game, I want to talk about the collectability part of this. All right, so first of all, as I said at the beginning, you get 2 light characters and 2 darkness. I'm sorry. I have several problems with this collectability about part of this game. That's one of them. If you want me to play with 3 characters on each side, give me 3 characters on each side. Yes, I can use this stupid token in this game.
Faceless token thing, yeah.
I was not impressed with that.
It's so transparent. This idea of, you need 3 per side. Here's a starter box. It has 2 per side. You have to collect these. You're not allowed to buy this and just get the core box. Go out and buy boosters. You know what I mean? And I hate that feeling of like, guys, come on,
That'd be like if Magic the Gathering sold, a starter pack that said like, here's 20 cards each. Like it's 30 per deck.
Yeah, like whatever.
Actually, collectible card games used to do that, where a lot of them, the starter deck would not be enough for an official deck.
That's right.
You know, and then you had to buy more. So then we come in. Okay, so I will buy more. So when we were talking about this, you mentioned at least you know if you're getting dark side, light side. That's great.
Yes, that's something.
We just have talked recently about collectability, and I don't mind collectible games that much, except in this case, I mind them because I'm buying one thing here. And if I already have one, let's say I buy 2. I'm like, I'm gonna buy 2 of these plus this. I'm just buying 2. There's a chance they're the same.
Yes.
That's really annoying. I have to go find some friend and trade him, hoping he got a duplicate also.
And then the holograms, I don't like that there's a chance there to get a duplicate also. Because I might end up getting like Princess Leia and then Princess Leia hologram. And I'm like, well, I was hoping for 2 different characters.
Yes.
My point being, their rarity breakdown, I'm not a huge fan of. The rare ones, and I think they are rare, are the ugly, repeated hologram ones. Like, no, just make some rare. If you must make rare ones, make some of the characters rare. You know what I mean? Make alternate poses. Do something else. Right. I don't like this hologram cheat that they did. They look like garbage, okay, first of all.
Just like the other ones. Yeah, it's just blue.
Literally, all the other ones have more work put into them than the holograms. How are those the rares? But then it's like, just, I might get that. With Yoda and then hologram Yoda, I'm like, come on, I don't want this. I don't like a rare chase should make me want to chase it. If I buy some of these, I hope I don't get any.
But they have an extra rule.
They also have an extra rule.
A
Tremendous extra rule. If you have a hologram on your side, your hand size is 4, not 3.
I hate that rule. I hate it so much.
It is the best, most obvious, hammer to the face, rares are better that I've seen in a long time.
Oh, There's a Strong Bad skit from back in the day where there's the cheat action figure playset, and the theme song for it is literally the cheat playset, buy all our playsets and toys. And that's what I feel with this. Like, are you buying more yet? How about this rule?
I know.
How about this? How about these rares?
So that's a big bummer, and honestly, that's a big negative of the game. But the game itself, I came into this, I wasn't sure what to expect, because the last two Funko games is the Funkoverse, which has big figures and lots of cool things you can do with them. And then there was the small Battle Worlds game they made, which is almost nothing. After playing this, I now realize that the bigger the Funko figure is, the more strategy in the game. So this is halfway. I'm not kidding. This is halfway between those two.
That's the rule.
It's not particularly difficult, but it's not super light. There are some interesting decisions being made in this game.
I think this is a really fun game to play. Again, we're stepping away now from the collectability, the delivery system, all of that stuff. And we'll come back around to the look of it, because we probably should. But the gameplay, I was very surprised. It's a game that after having played, I'm like it stayed with me. I was like, that's fun. Like, I enjoy that. Ooh, you can, if once you have enough things, enough bits, figures, whatever, you can bring your own 6 locations. And then the other player brings their 6, we shuffle that up. And some of them are like, the dark side gets +1. I'm like, cool, great.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
If I'm the dark side, I'm bringing that card. And if my opponent brings a 2, they're a dummy, because they're playing the light side. So I really like that. I enjoyed the gameplay. I've seen it a couple of places online now described as Star Wars Snap, like Marvel Snap. And I'm like, yeah, kind of.
But do you like the die roll?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. That makes the game, because otherwise it would be a game of pure strategy of sorts, right? Because then it would be, the decisions are too heavy almost for how simple of a little game. Oh, you played a 6 here, but he's a Force user, so therefore, but throwing the die in and not knowing which locations are going to score makes it a little bit more push your luck. It makes you read your hand of cards and say, okay, if that one doesn't get rolled, I'll use this one that lets me move someone somewhere else.
Right.
It makes those moments more interesting for also being lighter. I think it would be a better game, perhaps, if it didn't have the die roll. I think it's more fun with it.
I like the die roll because it's die roll then card play. That's what makes it.
I get that.
Agree.
If it was card play then die roll, I would have a huge
crazy.
problem.
Yeah. But you roll the die and then you're like, oh, I can move Cody to the fight that is actually happening. Or I can whatever. You play one card and it affects something. The pusher luck, the one-upmanship, this idea of hedging my bets. I'm losing there for sure. I'm going to go and try to take the other 2, and they might come up. I really like that flow. I like that feeling of rolling the die and kind of seeing what happens. And the die has that one face with the chevron or whatever, which is the strongest one, or ones if they're tied, are the ones that score. There's higher odds that that's going to be included because it could come up on the number, whatever it is.
Sure.
Plus the chevron, so it's it's most likely the 5 over here. I'll go there. There's some things to think about. For being such a toy and such a dumb-looking collectible, right? I mean, in some ways, I think the gameplay is way more subtle than I expected. I'm not saying it's a big strategic game. This is not Gaia Project. There's more there than I expected.
I know I played this with my son, and while he understood the whole idea of, hey, put characters here, the subtlety of the card play was tricky.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
These are he got the whole, hey, put the characters here, strongest wins, we roll a die, these are the ones that work, and then, I could do this person, move this person, discard a card. He's like, whoa, huh? How does that work? And I found it was easier to let him play big punchy characters. Like he had C-3PO, which is C-3PO is a really delicate character. What's her name with the 2 lightsabers is the same way.
Asajj, yeah.
Yeah, she's the same way, right? She's discard a card to go over here and move into this, and that's trickier. And again, I don't find that complicated at all.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily a young kid's game.
I played it with my 7-year-old daughter, and this is her introduction to
Star Wars.
We showed her the movies a while ago, and she didn't remember half the characters. I was like, I failed. But what I'll say is that it's kind of her introduction to this head-to-head type thing. We don't play a lot of those games in our household, but this is the one that I could play with her because she's seen me play Marvel Snap, and she's like, "Oh, that looks fun," But this is the way to kind of enjoy that type of experience with her. Different game, of course, but that type of experience. And her struggling with those cards the first few games has made it to the point where now she can play it, and she'll just smirk as she puts down a card. And I think, I'm about to get wrecked by a 7-year-old.
Right.
She can play it pretty well. She's won the first several times we played it because of some nice, tricky card play. Remove C-3PO, who's only a 2-strength character, and an opponent of your choice. Goodbye, level 6 Darth Vader.
Right.
Oh, I didn't see that coming. It's approachable, but you're right. It is one step past, kids. It is a step above kids game per se.
I also struggle with the cards because I hate the size of them and shuffling them is terrible. Sorry, as a side note. I dislike the Battlestar Galactica cards they use.
It is an homage to the Sabak cards. You can buy those.
Sabak was in one scene in Star
That's
Wars.
all it takes in Star Wars.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. What do you guys think of the look of the game?
Looks like a kid's toy.
The minis, the little figures, what do you think?
But so does Funkoverse.
It's very toyetic in this. I mean, I picked this up earlier because I want to show it. It even has these plastic panes in here that show them off, front and center. I like the look of it for what the game is. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't mind if it looked a little bit more serious Star Wars and everything, but I also understand that they probably didn't want to betray a more mature, a robust game with the artwork and amazing miniatures, and then have this roll the die, woo, kind of a card game.
Yeah.
I think it fits, and I like it for that reason, even if I don't necessarily love the art inherently, if that makes sense.
I think it's growing on me. When I first saw Luke, I'm like, oh my goodness, what have they done to you, my poor soul? But it's growing on me, and I like a lot of the figures, like the extra ones you got in here. They look cool. And at this point, I really, really want Darth Grievous, or what's his name? General Grievous. I want to find that. I want to see what he looks like. I like that character a lot.
You do like him.
It's growing on me. The
irrationally.
look of this is definitely growing on me. And again, like you said, I think it fits the tone of what's going on. I don't mind the card shape. I think it's fine. They're a little rubbery feeling, so they don't shuffle super well. Mm-hmm. They don't have a great finish on them. I like that the main way in which you pull each other back is with those -1 counters. That's a nice linear way to manipulate stuff's value.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like -2. And you put them on there, and you can retreat for 1 turn and wipe them away if you want to. I'd like that it's not. Again, there are no +1 and -1, and this is a copy of a copy. You know what I mean? There's no crazy Magic the Gathering type stuff. It's very linear. So I like that.
I'm giving this a 6. Here's the thing. I like the game a lot. I think the game's pretty cool. I was very pleasantly surprised by it. I just can't get over the packaging and how all that comes. Because you can't just buy this, really. You have to buy this and then hope, well, these won't be duplicates, so this is fine. So then why not just put these in here? A comparison point for me would be Star Wars Epic Duels, which came out many years ago from Hasbro and was remade in the Unmatched series. Mm-hmm. But in Star Wars Epic Duels, you got all these cool characters. And so I'd be like, today I'm going to play Han Solo and against Palpatine. Oh, today I'm going to play Darth Vader against Luke Skywalker. If you buy this, you're like, today I'm going to play the same 2 characters we always play.
And a token.
So it forcing me to go out and get these, and I want to get more of them, and I don't. It's too much money for that. I have refused to get more.
Yeah.
Because the game isn't good enough, that good for me to get more, and I don't know. It's really bugged me. Collectible card games don't bother me that much in general. I buy Magic the Gathering, I buy a Commander decks, but when I get those, I'm satisfied. I can play those against each other, and it's a good time.
Right.
This is not satisfying for me. That's the thing. If I'm rating just this, I don't like it that much. There's not enough in this box. We got lucky that we got 2 different characters in each of these.
Right.
Yeah.
But if we hadn't, I would have been really annoyed.
Yeah, I
would have
agree.
been, if I had gotten to, yeah, so, but it is fun, it's interesting. I also think if you hang on for a couple years, you'll be able to get this really cheap somewhere. Or it's going to be overpriced everywhere. One of those two things is going to happen.
Yes.
You know, it'll be very rare to get. But I'm not going to get any more of it.
I'm going to come in at a 7.5. I agree with your complaints for sure, right? That this box doesn't get a 7.5. Mm-hmm. But as a system, and factoring in that if you want to get a lot of characters, it's going to be kind of pricey.
Yes.
Right? I'm aware of all of that. But I do have fun being able to just mix up. What we have here is we have 4 characters light and 4 characters dark in just this amount of boxes. And switching out that one character changes the tone, the timbre of my deck and my strategy enough so that if I had like 2 more characters on each side, I would really be impressed to be able to kind of plug and play my team and really pick, this person draws a lot of cards. This person gets benefits for burning other cards, so I'm going to mix them together. And there's a good amount of room in here. I agree that the collectability part of it drags it down a little bit for me, but not as much as you, I think. I'm really impressed with it. 7.5 is a good score for me for something like this.
I'm coming in between you guys at a 7. I agree with what you're both saying. I definitely agree with what you're saying about holding off and getting a bunch of this stuff cheap in like a while when it fails. Because I don't know. It's not... I do wonder. It might not. It might do very, very well. I would like for it to do well because I want more than like 18 characters. It's a small pool. You're more likely to run into duplicates at a small pool. It's a problem that is of their making. But I guess that they want to test the waters, and then Season 2 has a bunch more. You know what I mean? But a 7 feels right, because I like the game a lot. And the delivery system I'm not a huge fan of. You're right about that core box. The randomness, I don't know why, I just don't like the hologram things. The rule is stupid, extra card. I don't like the way they look.
I agree.
I would rather trade that for the normal one. If I pulled a hologram, I don't think I'd be happy. I really wouldn't. I'd be like, oh, hologram. I mean, it's a new character, but stupid hologram. So I don't like that, but I enjoyed the game a lot. I've been very tempted to pick some of this up. I really have.
Same.
In fact, I know that the closest Walmart to here has, as per their website, core boxes, but no boosters. I'm like, well, I'll wait till they have boosters because I want to get some of those. Because again, the core box by itself kind of sucks. But yeah, I'm tempted to get some. It's what you're looking at here is about $40 worth. Okay, that's not so bad. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. I just wish it was in one box.
Right, and if
And
you
then I
get
still don't like the
duplicates-
boosters.
But if you get duplicates at $40, suddenly is like a little wonky. If you ended up with 2 light side boosters that have the same person. So, yeah, I can't go higher than that. I want to, but I can't. But I like the game, man. I was very, very pleasantly surprised. It's a fun little game.
Well, there you go, folks. That's Star Wars Rivals, the expandable game system. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Chris Yee.
I'm Z Garcia.
Z Grievous.